Comic-Con with Kwanza Osajyefo, who is going to be doing something really exciting in Humanoids, and I want you to explain it just as you explained it to me, because it sounded so exciting when you were saying it to me. So tell people, what's going on at Humanoids? You, Mark Waid, John Cassaday, Carlos B. McNeil, Yannick Paquette. Lay it on us.
Well, Humanoids approached us to come together and build essentially this hero world for them that's, in our opinion, based a lot more in the real world than your standard sort of like sci-fi supernatural fare. But it was just this really great opportunity to create like this new universe that operated on some familiar touch points, but like really is running at a very unique pace compared to like a lot of other stuff on the shelves.
How so in a unique pace? You mean is it faster? Is it slower? Is it what does that mean?
I think one of the key elements of this universe is that there's consequence. There's a lot of things that are based off of like humanity and emotion and interaction, but what's really key to this universe is that when things happen, they don't like just kind of disappear. It's not one of those things where it's like a building gets knocked down and then we forget about it and it like another story later on. It's like these things have impact because they have impact in our real lives, and that's what a lot of these stories are like tethered to, the things that are actually happening in our lives, whether they be like political, social, personal, and then like having that sci-fi supernatural element around that complicated even more. Because if you think about your regular life and then you add in like a little bit of superpowers, you're just like, oh, okay, I thought this would make it awesome, but maybe it actually made it a little bit more complicated.
So how many books are part of the initial launch here?
So there's 3 books. Ignited, which I am writing, co-writing with Mark Waid, and then there's Omni, and then also Strangelands, which is going to come out in August of 2019.
Okay. So July and August are the launch points. When you're creating something like this, obviously, you don't want to take too much from the past. You want to create something new. But sort of what were some of the types of stories, the touchstones for you guys when you're talking about this new universe?
I think often you hear people talk about, telling stories, that exist out in the real world. But, often because it's comic books, people want to do that very lightly. And I think that, in some cases is fine, like you're trying to entertain people, you don't want to beat them over the head, but there's so much, impact on these events in our lives, whether, again, like they're political or social, that it deserves a little bit more, like, fleshing out, like if you're going to tell a story like that. And so, we based, like, a lot of these initial character stories and, like, events that, have happened, and we're not going to just do it and move away from it. We're going to tell this story of like how these things have like shifted and changed these characters' lives, and then sprinkle in the sci-fi superhero stuff just to make it a little bit more troublesome for them.
So you're co-writing with Mark Waid. Who's illustrating that book?
I just blanked on who's illustrating it. I'm totally sorry. Like,
that's okay.
It's been kind of a crazy day. I've been like not able to talk about this for 6 months.
Well, I know it's been. I was saying to the Humanoids folks before, I deal with publishers all the time. I've never seen this level of scrutiny and security and lack of information. But I think it makes the reveal that much cooler when it happens that way. So yeah. So you and Mark, are you both scripting? Is one plotting, one scripting? How is the breakdown of labor happening so far?
It's kind of like a tennis match. You're just like enjoying a game with each other and like batting stuff like back and forth. So it's pretty even Steven. Like, we'll plot, we'll write, we'll like pick up with each other like, a day or two later, we're like, hey, I worked out this thing. What do you think? And then we'll both go through each other's like, like work and like chop it up. But it really has turned out to be something that one is amazing because I'm working with Mark Waid. This is somebody I grew up like reading, and now I'm co-writing with him. But I think we're learning a lot from each other as well.
That's awesome.